One of the early things that caused me to start thinking that maybe my relationship with my mother wasn't super normal was my autism assessment, because she had to go with me, and the person that was doing the assessment spent a lot of time talking to my mum about like my early developmental years that like I really didn't remember, and then some of my early childhood that I did remember parts of. And it was absolutely bizarre to sit there and have him go through things that I was doing like as a baby, and ways that I reacted to things as a literal like prior to the age of 2 baby, and him being like, so your daughter was expressing needing support and expressing having these traits and behaving in this way. What did you do? And her being like, nothing, because it was really annoying, nothing because it was really difficult to deal with, nothing because other babies and other children didn't do that, so she shouldn't either. And having him repeatedly be like, but that's a sign of autism, but that's a trait of autism. And when I talk about this, a lot of people try to like defend my mother and be like, well, people didn't know about autism back then. My mum worked with disabled children, and my oldest brother was autistic, and one of like the main things I heard growing up was, no, because he's autistic you can't do that to him, because he's autistic he can't do that because he's autistic. We all had to accommodate to my brother because of his autism. But when it came to me, in my autism assessment, I found out that there'd been multiple people throughout my childhood, like within schools and young carers groups that I went to because of having an autistic brother, who had suggested to her that I might be autistic. And she was just like, no, Dana's just a problem. She's not autistic. There's not a diagnosable issue here. It's not that she needs support. It's just that she is the problem. And I'd always been aware of that being the way my mother like talked about me and perceived me. But this was like, my autism assessment was the first time that we were sat down in front of someone who knew about autism and knew about like support needs and treating children properly and that type of thing. And he was pretty much questioning her and being like, so you just didn't meet any support needs? You just didn't really help your kid? You just found your kid to be an issue? And she was just like, yeah, you know, because he was being nice about it. He obviously wasn't going to be an asshole during an assessment. But he had a certain tone with her that just made me sit there and really be like, this isn't normal. And he's surprised by the way that she's talking about me. Like, it's genuinely not an ordinary way to think and feel and talk about your child. That was in 2019, and by 2022 I'd completely gone no contact and stopped talking to her. And I really, like, looking back, I think that was like the moment that made me start looking at other moments with her and other types of behaviour towards me, and starting to try to set boundaries and be like, I don't like this and I don't like that, and just being completely walked over and increasingly being like, oh, this isn't like an accidental dynamic that's been created. This is very much what we're all sticking with and what we're going for and what everybody likes about the family. But I think about it like semi-regularly, because I really don't know that I ever would have like started to notice things and pick up on things and really think about things if the person that did my assessment had